Hello, this is Roger from Showbiz Support, and I will show you Step 1, Start Here. Now, whether you're using the trial or you've unlocked your program, you'll be greeted with this screen next. Start Here Union, Start Here Non-Union, Start Here Wider, and Hot Cost Reporter. So, if you're doing a union show, click Union Show. Non-union show, click Non-Union. If you are doing non-union people in a union show, that is perfectly acceptable, and you can just click Union. Wider production is a union function. It is used for mostly animation studios who need a much wider episode or production number. If you need to go directly into hot costs, you can click there, and we have a separate tutorial specifically on how to deal with hot costing. Right below that is important information. Take a look at that. From time to time, we may update you with new versions or some important information you might need to know. I'm going to start with non-union. Now, the very, very top of the screen here, this is what we call the navigation bar. It has all of the buttons that you will need to click on to navigate around the program. So first, Worksheet. This is where you actually enter the information about the payee that you want to pay, their information, and how to pay them when you actually make a time card. Below that is the Worksheet List. Worksheet List is every time card you've ever made. Think of it as books on a bookshelf. If I want to go into one time card, I can click literally right on that time card and go into it and take a look at it. If I want to go back out, I can click this bar over on the left, or I could click Worksheet or Worksheet List or Card List. Now, what are the differences between Worksheet List and Card List? Just different criteria you can search from. For example, maybe I want to define department or social security number. Those are not in the Worksheet List. So again, think of books on a bookshelf. You want to grab one particular piece of data, and we'll show you a little bit later on how to find these pieces of information by using our find and get function. Above that is time card. Time cards, we actually go to print a time card. You can choose one of many different types of time cards. In fact, usually newer versions, we have new functions and we have new added time cards because they're based upon your needs. If you ever need a particular time card, let us know, and we might be able to add that to the next version of the program for you. So going back to the worksheet, the first part of the information that you need to know is this is the information about the employee. Their name, their social security number, and you can enter just the last 4 digits if you prefer. There's department, position. These are drop downs. They will be blank at first, so just fill them out and they will be available on the next time card. Below that is the job information. The job information can be filled out once, copied, and then pasted. All right, over to the far right here, there's notes on the time card. If you want, perhaps somebody is going to be reviewing these time cards internally in your office, you may want to type them a note. Something will prevent a phone call back to you. Or perhaps you also want to make sure your coordinator, payroll coordinator at your payroll service would know something that you are doing in the time cards, again, to prevent a phone call or an email about it. Down below that is the ACA information. You can choose whatever is appropriate for you, email address, termination date, and then there's unpaid leave because some states have unpaid leave. Down below that is you can choose, is this person an hourly, a daily, or a weekly contract? Information about how to split a job, a different episode, or a different location. There's all kinds of ways of splitting. We'll go into that when we do the splitting tutorial, but you can put that information in there, including their rate and other things like that. Down below that is where you enter their hours. If they are an hourly employee. If they're a flat employee, you can just select flat and or worked, and it will take care of that. This is where it breaks down. If you're an hourly employee, we'll break down the straight time, time half, double time. Now, there are overtime rules. This is the non-union section. You can just go ahead and click on the particular state that you want, and it will choose it for you, and there's the rules for that particular state. We have all states in the union, so choose what is most appropriate for you. If you're ever unsure, you can click on this button down here where it says OT laws, and it will take you to a government website that will update you to what is appropriate for your state. Going a little further down the page, we have MPVs. If you are in a state that requires an MPV for non-union, i.e. the state of California, you can go ahead and click on meal penalties. There is miles per day if you want to enter miles per day, and there's also forced calls if necessary or needed. Down below, there's the allowances section. The allowances section can allow you to enter a box or a car or other information like that. Over towards the left again is actually where you actually calculate a time card, where you press the button and say, hey, calculate the information about my time card. Now, before I show you that, I want to show you about the information down below. This is optional information. You do not have to enter this information on the bottom. It is only information for tracking. If you want to use it, it is there for you to help you. And there's also hot costing information on the bottom for those who are using hot costing. Again, this is not required information. This is only if maybe perhaps you need it in your production office. And you are, as the accountant, payroll accountant or accountant, are responsible for that information. Might help you. Going back up the page a little bit, this is actually where you actually calculate a time card. There's Magic Pay and Magic Pay Edit. Well, a lot of people ask, what's the difference between the two? Well, Magic Pay Job, literally if you do split more than one job, it will split by job. If you say Edit, it will instead be by the type, in other words, the pay type. Straight time, time and a half, double time. Allowances will also split that way too. Also notice that when you hit Magic Pay, not only does it give you the total up top so you don't have to scroll down to the bottom, but also you will notice too that it gives a timestamp as well. Now, one important thing also to note is, notice how it's nice and large on my screen. If it is really small on your screen like this, some people prefer this. But what I've done is I've gone to the very, very bottom left. It looks like two little mountains. The smaller mountain makes it smaller, and the larger mountain makes it larger. So now I have actually set this so that it will go in and you can see it much better. There is a setting on the PC that you can go to Edit and Preferences and check this enlarge window contents to improve readability so that you can always have that function on. Some people prefer just to be able to click back and forth because admittedly you can see a lot more about the time card, but when you actually want to get into actual entry, you can make it larger. Thank you.